Introduce him.
Well, Chuck fires me up before he's introduced.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck.
Hey, how are you guys? Apologize, we're having some technical difficulties on our end.
Ask if they can see you.
Can you
talking about how you fire us up, buddy?
You know, it's really funny, Steve, because I read through your whole interview last night, the one that you did for us, you know, on the Fired Up Friday about 2 months ago, and I got super fired up.
All right, buddy.
It was all you, Steve. It was all you. Hey, and by the way, can you see me okay?
No, you're not.
Okay.
I don't see you.
All right, cool. Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but hopefully they get it figured out here.
Is that Drake Martin? Drake Martin's on the call. What's up, Drake?
What's happening?
And Drake. What up, Drake?
Yo.
Zoom is being weird, but you're live
So
on
quick
Facebook.
story, since we only have 90 people on, so it's like
Can you do
small
it
family.
audio?
So we're in the middle of the ocean, and all of us, there were like 17 guys, and we'd been there a couple days, I think like probably 3 days, and some of the guys were like, man, I wish I had
With 17 guys in the middle of the ocean, that's not that's hell.
No, we were swimming the great white shark, Steve. It was freaking awesome. So
Oh, I did that. Oh yeah.
we were like, man, we wish we had a phone, because everybody felt like they had to get phone calls done. And Drake whips out this satellite phone.
You gotta stay ready, man. You gotta stay ready. You never know when business is gonna call.
That's great, Drake.
That was like the coolest thing.
It is.
So I charged everyone to use the sat phone. What was it, like $10 a minute or something like that?
Yeah, I think everybody used it as well too.
I didn't use it. I was like, $10, dude. That's too much.
Where did you dive on a great white? Where were you with the white sharks?
Guadalupe Island,
There's Zoom right now.
Yeah, in the Sea of Cortez, right?
No.
out in
No.
Mexico.
Oh, Guadalupe, just south of Ensenada.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I dove on the point in the Sea of Cortez. Same deal with the hammerheads.
That's the Gordo Banks.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it was
up
cool.
side. The difference is they were in a cage. You weren't in a cage.
Oh no, I wasn't in the cage. They,
Yeah, I mean,
I apologize, guys. For some reason, my Zoom video is not working. So, but anyways, that's okay. I mean, for now, I'm just going to have to talk and fill you guys in on where we're at. Peter and I talked this week, and you know, as everyone's been resetting their year and figuring out what they want to do, I went back last night and over the last 2 weeks, and I was able to go through all the notes of a good chunk of the Fired Up Friday guests. And if you guys recall, let me just warm you up a little bit on who we've had so far this year. You know, we've had the amazing Steve Games, right? I mean, one of the icons in real estate. We've had Tom Ferry. We've had Mike Ferry. We've had No Arms, No Legs, No Problems. We had Ron Klein, who, you know, discovered, you know, the magnetic strip on credit cards and helped create the MLS. We've had the most powerful women panels. We've had a billionaire on the call. We've had just some amazingly great speakers. And again, that's a credit, I think, to, you know, the teamwork between West and Associated Brokers and everybody involved in Coastal Alliance and all that. But it was just super inspiring. Steve, you were telling me last night or earlier today that, you know, you're a little fired up right now. And after going through everybody's stuff, I'm super fired up. So I just wanted to jump in, Peter, and I just wanted to give some of course, and Town and Country, by the way, and Town and Country, and, you know, just all the awesome teams that we've had that have just been bringing in these great speakers and bringing the value. So anyways, I wanted to just jump in, Peter, and just give you guys some of the stuff that I thought was the most powerful pieces of information, you know, because a lot of times we get these great ideas, we take notes, and then all of a sudden they're gone, you know, and we forget them. Or I mean, and I don't know about you guys, but I've integrated a lot of the stuff from these calls into my life. And I'm telling people stuff all the time, and it makes me look really smart, but I stole it from these guys. So I thought I would just share some of it. How's the video, guys? Did we get it working yet? No? All right, no problem. So I'm going to jump in, Peter, and feel free to, like, you know, talk to me about anything and everything here regarding these people. But the first one I wanted to talk about, and this is a thanks to Mary Beth, is Ron Klein, the guy that created the credit card strip and, you know, and helped create the MLS, and also, you know, he was an Olympic cyclist. And if you guys recall, he's 82 years old, and he is still full charging right now, you know, coming up with, you know, different ways to try to automate the business and the QR codes and all that. But the secret to his life, he said, was 4 things. And I thought it was interesting. And the first thing he said was, and it was funny, it's the same pattern all across these great speakers. It's the same keys and components and characteristics of the way they think. And the first thing he said is, you have to learn. You have to always be learning, always be learning. You have to pay attention to the world around you. And you have to bring benefits to make people's lives better. And that was literally all he cared about. Learning, paying attention to the world around you, and bringing benefit to making people's lives better. And another thing I noticed across these themes, Peter, was that a lot of these guys, like when we talk about, you know, the gentleman that wrote 3 Feet from Gold, they don't always say that you have to have everything charted out in a plan, which I've always believed we should. But as I went back and read it, they all said the same thing, which was, you don't have to have everything charted out. You just have to have your eyes open to the opportunities that come in front of you. So, you know how, like, when you think of a white Suburban and you're driving down the freeway, all of a sudden you see white Suburbans, you know, you want to buy one. It's the same thing with opportunities. When you have that opportunity mindset, they just continually present themselves in front of you at times that you're not expecting that. So, and I was going to hit you up, Peter, first, because I have a specific plan that I work 2 days on. And what about you, man? I mean, when I met you, you guys had like 100 agents. Now you guys have over 1,000. Point has, I think, over 300 employees, and you were just getting rolling with all that when I met you. And this is like 6 years ago. Did you have a plan to do all this stuff, or is it in writing, or was it all in your head, or, you know, how does this all work for you?
So full disclosure, I asked Chuck what we were going to talk about today, and he said, just be ready. So zero preparation. So thanks for putting me on the spot, Chuck.
Sorry.
So I would, guys, don't hate me for this because it's not going to sound professional, but I would love to say that I have this drawn out plan. But really, I don't think I have a plan as much as so, I mean, and I think with the right people around me, that vision has been cleared up and brought into focus more and more over the years. And I mean, Chuck, but having Chuck in my life has really helped to say, okay, well, if Chuck can do it, I can do it.
If Chuck can do it, anybody can do it.
Over the years, yeah, if Chuck can do it, everyone can do it. He's not that smart. No, but he is. And I think, so little things like that, Chuck, I don't know. I mean, I don't have it written down.
Well, and
I don't have goals written down. It's more of like what I can see. I think we can do.
And Peter, that's what I found interesting. I mean, a lot of these guys, they didn't have that, that they didn't have a written plan, and it goes against everything I've ever been taught, you know, but they do have that opportunistic eye. You know, and yesterday you told me that, you know, you needed a couple days off. I know Corey Shepard, you know, he's been working 9 months straight and he needed to take a vacation. You know, you said that you kind of had a mini couple days that you melted down near the end of the year and all that stuff. But, you know, did you, and now you said you got that fire back. So do you mind just sharing some, like yesterday you told me like all of a sudden that fire came back and you started looking around for opportunities. I mean, you mentioned that last night.
Yeah. again, being honest and probably not the best, but towards the end of last month, or really most of last month, I was feeling burnt out. Like, man, I need to go on vacation. I need to do something. But obviously with COVID, you can't really do anything. A little bit. And so I did take literally probably just 1 day or 2 days away from my phone. And the day before yesterday, I started to feel this. I don't know how to explain it. Chuck was asking me about it last night. I'm like, I get this this feeling inside where it's like not anxiety, but kind of like anxious. Like, let's go. You got to go do something. Pick up the phone. Go. And in my head, it's like, go kick up dust. Go start pushing things. Go start pushing buttons and making calls and having conversations and see what happens. And we have an area in San Diego that we really want to get open. And so had this fire of just, let's go figure out how to do it. And I think now I'm on that. It's not a written thing.
I put a bug in your
Yeah, you put a little bug in my ear.
put a little bug in your ear, huh?
Well,
Yep.
and that's sometimes that's all it takes, is just an idea, So, I mean, and obviously, Peter, like I said, I think that's a unique way of going about things, but it does seem to be, a trend across people that are really making great things happen. So the next question I would have for you, or the next comment from Ron Klein, that's still charging is, he says the basic thing that I think we all know, and this is another thing across every single person, is there's no such thing as a problem. It's a situation or a challenge. There is no problems. It's a project, a situation, or a challenge. And he said something that I think we can all agree with, which is there is a gift behind every challenge. So,
Chuck, we faced that. Chuck, we faced that last March, right? And we've talked about it on these calls. I mean, a gift behind every challenge. I mean, just being on this call with everybody this morning is pretty intense. I mean, to think about where we were in March, where Chuck, I remember the conversation we had on that Sunday afternoon or actually Sunday morning at 11, when we said, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? And so now to look back almost a year and to find ourselves on the call with 200 people, it's become a normal thing. This is one of those treasures that has come from a challenge. I feel like I motivated every single morning. I know Associated Brokers does the same call at 9. But I don't know about you guys, but these calls have been a huge amount of help for my psyche every day. I mean, we've come together. I mean, we're such a tight knit group with West and Town and Country and Associated Brokers. It's such a cool thing.
We had some brand new people on the phone yesterday that we just hired. Congratulations to all of us. And that's scary. So we're learning every day.
Cool.
Yeah, we've done it together, really. I mean, Chuck, Lance, all of our leaders. I mean, really, everybody. I mean, I can't just say it's our leadership team because it's everybody. I mean, everybody's chipped in and brought talent and brought topics and helped the conversations keep going. So it's been a really, really fun ride. Sorry, Chuck, I had to say that.
No, that's what I was thinking, Peter, is it's like, it really, somebody was just saying, I'm so glad 2020 is over. I'm so glad 2020 is over, all this different stuff. And for me, Peter, I was just sitting here thinking like, maybe so, but we all have learned massive lessons about life. We have new relationships with our families, business for our industry, for the mortgage industry, for any of the affiliated service industries has had probably a banner year, some of the best years they've ever had. So really, there is a silver lining to this, and I think, like you said, I think we have all charged through that. So, but continuing with Ron Klein, Peter, and because we got a bunch of stuff I want to get through. The other thing he said, and I thought this was interesting, is that everyone has something to teach you, and he said even the trash man, everyone, and there was and this is just a lesson that I wanted to share. There was a book that the head gardener for the White House put out, and you may have heard me talk about this before, but he talked about all the different interactions he had with the president of the United States, from each one of them, from Nixon to Reagan to Clinton, you know, and how they treated him and the difference in their personality types and all that stuff. And he just said, like, some of them were so friendly and they'd walk out and they'd talk to him and they'd, you know, the president would say, like, oh my gosh, this looks great, that looks great. They'd appreciate him, they'd do it. And some would just ignore them like they don't even exist. And it is just, you know, this is, again, something that kind of was coming out of the conversation with Ron Klein. And I thought, you know, that is a great piece of information, is that everybody does have something to teach us no matter what. And again, I'm sorry to jump around. I'm sticking to what I thought were their powerful points. And the other thing, Peter, I think you'll like this, is another thing, you know, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm hooked on documentaries right now. I told that to Jenny, who's sitting next to me. Sorry you can't see it. But, and, you know, I've been watching things like Quincy Jones and, you know, the Black Godfather and all of these different people that have made like the biggest impacts in the world, including, you know, Ron Klein. Obviously, he changed the game for the world too with the credit card. But it talked about like he talked about when you have a life purpose and you know what you want to do, your engine is at full speed and you are going to accomplish great things, and you're going to work 16 hours a day because you love it, you live it, and you have purpose. And, you know, I think a lot of these successful people, and even some of the successful agents that are on this call, you know, I don't think they look at it as, oh my God, I had a 12-hour workday. I think they thoroughly enjoyed their day because they know what they're doing. They know why they're here, you know, to help others and do all that stuff. But my guess is that, you know, that is probably the key. When you love what you do, you are passionate about it, and there is no such thing as a clock. And it goes back to Patty, I think, who is one of your top producers, Peter. And she said on one of the calls, when they said, "What time do you what's your schedule like? What time do you come in and what time do you leave?" And she said, "I leave when my work is done, and no sooner. Period." But I thought that was pretty cool. So that was the last point from Ron Klein: is, you know, be passionate about what you do. And he said his specific quote, you know, "I hope that you fully get to live until your tank is empty, until you have nothing left." He's 82 and still charging. So if we could find our purpose, we could do the same thing. You know, so I thought that was pretty interesting stuff. So any comments on him? I mean, he's just amazing.
That wasn't a question directed towards me, guys. Everybody else?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to
anybody
comment on that?
I mean, that was a pretty cool call. And you know, I looked in your library, Peter, and I see you guys have all of these interviews, and I like tried to pick out the best. So I want to move on to Mary Beth's, a couple of Mary Beth's people that she brought in, if that's okay. I mean, Peter, Brian Sidorsky, the billionaire, I have stolen so much stuff, and he kind of changed my worldview. And the first time we were able to get a billionaire on this call, thanks to Mary Beth, Brian Sidorsky really, really made some big changes in me. And I just thought that I would share some of his stuff. The number one thing he said was, you know, that we have to be consistent learners. Again, the same thing that Ron Klein said. And of course, he said most people come from a struggling background, and they have shifted their mindsets from the woe is me mindset to the tackling fuel mindset. You know, so I think that's a pretty powerful comment. And I would agree that most people have come from nothing. I mean, there are a few, of course, that, you know, that started out in a great position, but most have started from nothing. And he spent the most time, when I watched that interview, talking about the power of the book Think and Grow Rich. And he said that he's read that over 500 times. Every single time he reads it, he makes notes every time he reads it. He digests the material, creates a new action plan every single time he reads that book. And then he says that he will make another $1 million immediately at the end of reading that book. So, I mean, I think that goes back to learning, but I mean, I don't even know what to say. That's just some pretty potent stuff. Did anybody read that book? And I can't see anybody on the monitor, so you gotta talk, but did anybody read that book since he said that? Tony, anybody? Do you remember him talking about that, Tony? I mean, Think and Grow Rich over and over and over and over. So, I mean, he's definitely got that mindset. Carrie, have you read that book, by the way? Carrie Guthrie?
I have read that book.
And
it's been a while, but it was one of my favorites.
What's your? I mean, do you remember anything from that billionaire call or any of these calls, you know, throughout the last year that have made a big impact on you?
Well, what I do remember about absolutely every one of them is the positivity of anybody can do this. You just got to want to, just rang true. And I see that. I see that with these agents that come in when they want to, they turn their whole world around. But that's what I gather from a lot of these speakers, especially Think and Grow Rich.
Right, right. You know, and what do you see between, because like when you meet somebody, Carrie, and like what attributes do you see like from a top producing agent? And I know that that's a question that we all talk about, but what do you see, you know, from top producing agents as opposed to maybe people that just aren't doing quite as well?
They're fearless. I think that when I meet somebody, I look to see, okay, we're going down the roaring rapids and we're in this boat. Who's the people who are going to enjoy this? And if there's an issue, they're the ones that jump out and help everybody. Those are the kind of people that I look for, that I want to surround myself with. And those seem to.
Yeah.
So that, and in my head, I seriously think that when I'm talking with someone, what would you do?
Yeah.
Crazy, I know.
It makes sense. It makes sense. It's just fun to watch. You know, you can kind of see the people with purpose. And I don't know if you're guilty of this too, Carrie, but a lot of times we'll go into an interview and you see somebody that comes in that sharp suit, you know, and they're coming off of a, you know, a highly educated job. And then you'll see somebody that walks in showing you pictures of their cat. And the one that shows you pictures of their cat ends up being the superstar, and the one in the suit is maybe out of the business inside of a year. Have you noticed that too? I mean,
absolutely.
Isn't it strange? I mean, one of the best managers in you know the industry that I've ever met wears yellow glasses. I mean, right?
You're back.
Crazy. But anyways, well, thank you. Hey, one of the other things I wanted to say is that Brian was in a suit on our Zoom. That is true, Mary Beth. He did have specific goals. And what I mean is, if you recall, the first time he hit $1 billion was right around the, you know, within this year that he had that $1 billion net worth. And he said, you have to be specific. I thought that was interesting. And if you recall, he said, I wanted to have a net worth of $1 billion by April 30th, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. That's what he said. I don't know if you guys recall that. And he hit it, he said, that day. So obviously he had something closing or something happening that made that happen for him, but I thought that was pretty cool. And then the other thing, Peter, going back to, you know, when we always talk about financials and, you know, and making sure that you're creating passive income and stuff, he said, buy things and forget you bought them. Buy passive income things and forget you bought them. Plant seeds and forget about it was his exact quote. Plant seeds and forget about it. And he said, you know, if you recall, he bought a couple little pieces of dirt like that someday they were hoping would be developed next to a freeway, and that's really where he made a ton of his cash. So that was a big one. So let's see, what else we got? Oh, his biggest regret, though. This is his biggest regret. Does anybody remember what his biggest regret was? His biggest regret was that every time there was a chance to make money, he skipped his kids' baseball games. And he said that he missed the majority of his children's games, participation, you know, involvement in all the things that they did. And he said that was the number one thing. He basically traded money and success for, you know, his children and his children's, you know, activities and all that stuff. And he was pretty torn up about that. And he's like, hey, I repaired that later in life. But, you know, that's a big one. That's a big one. So just something to keep in mind. And hey, are you guys cool with me just going through stuff like this and just reviewing all these people? Because I mean, we could change the
Keep
topic.
going.
Hey, Chuck.
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
if I may.
Please,
I want
Karen.
to share, I don't know if you guys remember or if you have it on your list, well, the call that we had with Jeff Mace. He was brought in by Todd Conklin. And those of you who know me know that I'm a systems person and a checklist. And what he shared for the agents to start creating habit and draw the path of success, I think was very powerful. You remember he talked about the 7 actions for the next 7 days. And it was really, really powerful. You know, he talked about Monday. You pull the stats every week to become an expert in the market, and this will give you confidence. On Tuesday, you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is 5 likes, 4 comments, 3 shares, 2 direct messages, and 1 video posting on social media. Wednesday, you're going to call 10 people just to see how they're doing. You're not even going to mention real estate, just how are you doing, especially today. Thursday, you're going to do Then on Saturday,
We have some requests that you could put that, and I doubt you want to type it all out, but we have a bunch of requests. Hey, can you type this into the chat? I mean, there's like multiple. I'd like a copy. Can you type it in? Could you share it with me? We're getting hit up crazy, Karen, with that list.
okay, I will.
You know, maybe you know what, Peter? Can you start typing? Thanks, dude. So
Karen she's the list queen. We would have manager meetings and the meetings would be over and Karen would be like, wait, I have this list I want to go through, and it's like another hour of a meeting.
That's pretty
Karen's
funny.
the list queen. Karen, write it down in chat.
I will.
I love it. Well, thank you, Karen, for sharing that. We're going to shift a little bit now to Greg Reed. And if you guys remember Greg Reed, he's the guy that created that Secret Knock organization, you know, where I think Mary Beth was there. And I think she said that when she sat down, it's just a bunch of super powerful people. You know, she sat down, she had Richard Dreyfuss at the table and the president of Mexico at the table. That's where she met Brian Sadorsky at her table. You know, their guest was, if you recall, that they had on for the last meeting they had was Snowden, like coming in on a Zoom call somewhere hidden from Russia. And, you know, his job was to interview the most powerful, you know, world-changing people on the planet, you know, like the owner of Chick-fil-A, Elon Musk, all of these really high-performing level people, analyze what they do and try to figure out what their keys to success are. And so what he said, and this is what's funny, Peter, is this goes back to what we were saying, stop planning so much and look for unexpected opportunities. He said the same thing that the previous people did. So it's just about looking around the world and seeing nothing but opportunities. So I thought that was super great. And he said that successful people seek counsel, others seek opinion. And I think you're pretty good at that, Peter. And you know, you've had Lenny, and you've had all kinds of people, Rick Hoffman, and you know, a lot of the top producers have surrounded themselves in this company with other top producers. They've gone to, you know, into coaching where people are specialists in what they do. They've just gotten counsel, not opinions, because you know, I keep thinking back to those people that you go in and you're talking to them, and you're getting their opinion on a relationship or whatever, and then you're like, wait a minute, you guys are a mess. What the hell am I doing talking to you guys? You know, so I think it's the same kind of thing with your career, and that's one of the things Greg Reed said. And when he was talking about mentors and people that guide you, and you know, I'm referring to all this stuff so that we can try to implement it in 2021 too. So I tried to pick the pieces that maybe we need to make adjustments to. But he said a mentor is someone who tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And there's a big difference in somebody just sitting there and letting you talk like they're a psychiatrist versus somebody that's going to talk at you who's been there, done that, and is going to show you the ropes. So I thought that was pretty big. A good one, really good one from Greg Reed. And I don't know if you guys have anything else. And then he gave that speech at the end about, you know, how capable we all are and that we just have to make that decision, and you can do anything, you can be anything. And he's right, and he's seen it, because these people he was interviewing, they came from nowhere and nothing. So just something to think about. All right, so let's move on. The Millennial under 30 panel. If you guys recall, you know, we have a girl that's 27. She did, I think, 497,000, and in our area, that's really good, guys. And I think Anthony Manzon was on there, and they were just bringing they were really bringing real estate tools. They weren't necessarily bringing like mindset and stuff like that. Their goal on that call was to say, what are you doing that's helping you to kick ass in 2020 because you're jamming right now? And the one piece of information that I brought from that 30 under 30 panel was that they were talking about two companies, if you guys recall. Banner Season and Client Giant. If you guys recall, Banner Season and Client Giant. And those are the companies that you can lay out a year's gifts for your clients, and they're automatically delivered without you having to do anything. So what they've done is they've kept in touch with all of their people, you know, through muffins for their birthdays or cookies for their birthdays, and their home anniversaries have some things delivered to them, and then all of a sudden something's delivered over here. So it was $99 per client, and for a year, every month, some cool item of value is delivered, already tailored from those agents to those people. So again, the name was the Banner Season or the Client Giant. But I don't know about you guys, but you know, and I can see you guys all now, but I think that's pretty amazing and pretty awesome information. So just a great piece of a great nugget that I got that I didn't even know those organizations existed. So pretty good stuff. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And Karen, everybody's saying thank you very much for what you're doing. So thank you. Okay, so next up we had Steve Black. And Steve Black was the social media consultant / coach. And I know a lot of people signed up for him. Some people were impressed with him. Some people weren't, whatever. I stole a couple of his social media nuggets that I thought were pretty world-changing stuff too, at least in my mind, that I thought I would share. The first thing he said was that where does business come from? And I know in a lot of the real estate books, a lot of people will say the same things. Accountants, insurance agents, and attorneys. I think we can all agree that accountants, insurance agents, and attorneys can give you a lot of business. But the question is, how do you get through to them? How do we break into them? How do we get them to be our source? And what he said is I know West has a studio. I know we have a studio. I know Coastal Alliance has areas you could do an interview. I know Town and Country has that. So what he was suggesting is interview these attorneys. Interview these accountants, sit down with them and just have them give a nugget on real estate while you're sitting with them, because not only are you building a relationship and bonding with these people and promoting their business, but now you've helped them and they're going to want to help you back. So by having, you know, a family or divorce attorney or, you know, a real estate transaction attorney or anything like that come on and do that, next thing you know, you have won them over. So you're promoting them and you're promoting yourself through a quick little sitting video or interview, and they're very likely to refer you business. But I mean, do you guys like that nugget? I think that was a nugget, and it's just about building relationships. So that's one of the things I got from that I got from Steve. The other thing was, and you guys know this, but I just wanted to remind you, when we're coming into 2021, we cannot get together. The people that have, I know of somebody specifically that had a party 2 weeks ago. They invited their mom. And unfortunately, their mom died on Sunday from COVID from being at that party. So, I know that I'm not trying to bring down the situation, but we still cannot get together and we have to be safe. And it was somebody very close to us. And, so that being the case, though, knowing that it's so dangerous, we have to, of course, reach out in different means. One of the other things Steve Black said is be a part of your client pool's conversations. When somebody makes a post, any post, you can't see them, but you can start a conversation with them online. Whatever that post may be. What a cool cat. Where'd you get it? It could be anything, but just engage those people so that you can come up at the top of their algorithm and so that you can make sure that you're staying relevant in their minds. And then the last thing, yes, I'm sorry, go for it.
So on that one with Steve Black, we also have the 555, which I think is very powerful. Most of us don't post anything or don't call people because we don't know what to say or how to do it. What he says is do the 555, which is make sure that every day you do 5 likes on Facebook. Those likes have 5 comments, and they have to be 5 words minimum. And so those are daily. And then 5. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I think it's great. Hey, no, Karen, I appreciate that. And tied along with that too, and again, social media is the world now. It is life. And that's why, he was great on there. And I know a lot of people maybe being coached by him. But one of the other things was for you to follow a social media calendar. And, we put out a calendar every month, which you guys probably all have, and you're well aware to have. Like yesterday was National Bobblehead Day. So you could do something fun with that. There's National Cookie Day, there's National Cat Day, there's, so many different things that you can post on for content. And I think most of us struggle on content, but if you follow that social media calendar, and like you said, if you want to get a copy of it from us, you can. As a matter of fact, I wonder if we can post it in the chat. if you guys want a copy of this month's social media calendar. But it just makes it easy so that you have something that you can just automatically refer to, so you don't have to think, what should I post today? But that was one of the other things regarding his social media. And the last thing he said, and I think you would agree with this, is, since we are in the business of real estate, a lot of people, when we go through their Facebook pages or something, it's literally 25 posts in a row about their kids. And I love your kids, and I love kids. They're great. Okay, but he's suggesting that all of your posts need to be about lifestyle mixed with real estate. So if you do have kids, hey, they're on a playground, but I'm taking a call, taking a listing right now, and you got your phone in the picture and them in the back, just to constantly be mixing up those sorts of things. So, not just your personal life, but your personal life mixed with real estate. So I thought that was good. What's that? Oh, sorry, thought somebody had something. So that was the nuggets from Steve. And by the way, anybody can feel free to jump in. I know I'm getting a little preachy here, Peter, so feel free to jump in at any time, but I just thought this stuff was so legit.
I think it's legit, Chuck, and I think that you should share your social media calendar more often, because I think people hear it, but I know our people at West, I'm not sure if everybody has it.
You know what?
So that'd be awesome.
You know what I'll do, Peter? Every month I'll post it into your closed Facebook group. And we can pin it to the top, and it's really great stuff. I mean, it also has make your calls, do your personal notes, da 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 da. But the most important thing is the stuff that's highlighted in blue, which is that Hallmark Calendar's daily events, like the bobbleheads or whatever. So next,
and then I challenge, and then one more thing, I challenge the thought process of we're in the real estate business. One of the things that I think that one of the things I think I learned this year was I don't know if we're in the real estate business anymore. I don't know if business is what it's historically thought of to be. I think it's turned, maybe it's always been this way and I'm naive, but I think we're just in the people business regardless of what we're doing. So I do agree with, forget his name, the social media guy, that you got to post real estate stuff. I agree with that. But then I also think that it's more important to connect with people.
Agreed. Than
it is to get out and say, I'm a realtor. I think you can't be a secret realtor, but at the same time, I think you have to love people.
Agreed.
And part of loving what you do is loving the people you work with.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, and Peter, if you think about it, even as a manager, like Carrie or Tom or anybody, it's the same thing with a manager. You have to love and care about your people. As a broker, it's got to go both ways. Like Jeff just said, we are all in the relationship business, and so I would 100% agree with you. I like that. So the next one, Peter, I think is pretty interesting, and it is the interview with Steve Games. So Steve Games, you want to hear your nugget, Steve? You're going to see if you even remember what they are, man, and if you still agree with them, okay? So Steve listed out, the way I saw his presentation, he basically listed out about 10 things that are the key to success. And for those of you guys on the call that don't know who Steve Games is an icon in real estate. I mean, he created, one of the biggest, most powerful real estate companies in the United States. And ended up selling it off to Warren Buffett for a ton. And, I have a ton of respect. Peter and I have been to his house. It's ridiculous. I love it. I'm jealous. I want it. But he's just accomplished a lot in his life and in the real estate industry. And I wanted to share his secrets. So here's what you listed out, Steve. Feel free to argue with yourself. The first one is...
Chuck.
Yes.
Chuck, can I, let me, before you keep going. So guys, you know how you hear about people and you hear, oh, like Chuck's an a-hole, he's arrogant, he's blah, 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 full of himself.
What?
And I think it's that was a joke, Chuck.
Oh, okay.
Joke. But you hear things,
down, Chuck.
You hear things about people, and Steve is one of them where, prior to meeting Steve and getting to know Steve, Steve's like way up here. He's real estate God. And so you hear things of, man, he's full of himself. He gets up on stage and he cries and blah, 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 blah. But once you get to know Steve, it's like, he is one of the most genuine people that you will ever meet. And you wouldn't know that unless you gave him a chance. And I think I just wanted to say that because Steve is a legend. And I'm super honored. Steve, I'm super honored that we're on the same team. Like Tony's right next to you on my screen. And I remember him asking me what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be like, and the answer was I want to be like Steve Games when I grow up. That guy's a beast. So to be here with you, working with you is, I mean, sorry. Go, Steve, go.
That's quite a build-up,
Then
Steve.
I'll mute you because you talk a lot.
That's quite a build-up.
Don't be sorry, Peter. It couldn't be more kind.
Well, and it's funny, you know how Peter just took a shot at me, Steve? Somebody just took a shot at you two in the chat. And they said, Steve, the only time Steve cries is when he doesn't get on the stage. When he doesn't get called up stage. So, so I just have to share that.
That's not a shot. That's a reality.
All right, so here it is. Here's the keys to success from Steve Games' interview 2 months ago. Number one is work ethic and consistency. That is the number one thing. And if you talk to, and I've talked to some of your top lenders at Point, Peter, and some of the high-end top producers in all of real estate, in any industry at all, they will say just work and work your ass off. Plus consistency. So the first piece you gave, Steve, was work ethic and consistency in what you do. The second thing was plant seeds today that pay off in the future, whether that be relationships, people you meet, you're laying the groundwork wherever you go for future business. 3 was be goal-oriented in the short term and the long term. And when you said short term, you specifically said plan your next day. Know what you're going to do the next day. Don't wander in and not have a plan. So you said short-term and long-term goals. The 4th was, and I think this is what you're the king of, because you and I have had offline conversations. We talked about a month ago in the evening, and you said, networking is everything, and that you've struggled a little bit in this environment because you are a people person that likes to be face-to-face. You like to constantly be meeting people and be out front and out in the world, and this has been a little tough for you, but networking and getting face-to-face with as many people as possible was your key. And then number 5, which I loved, is that deals in real estate, and this is 50 years of real estate talking, deals in real estate do not come one grape at a time. They come in bunches. So when one deal comes, you need to have your eyes open because a lot of stuff's going to happen all at once. It's not a grape, it's a bunch. And the next thing was having massive energy and enthusiasm. You said you always got to carry yourself around with energy and enthusiasm. Number 4 was meld your business into your communication. So every time you're talking, always let people know what you do and speak with purpose in letting your your business desires out. Is kind of how I read what you said. You said to integrate scripts into your personality and that we should not get away from scripts ever. We should all have that knowledge. And this is a big one, Steve, and this is the one that I think a lot of people are going to remember. You said to control your demons. And I remember, you were down in your wine cellar, and you're a guy that doesn't drink, and you have that wine cellar just to make absolutely damn sure that you don't do it and to remind yourself that you can overcome your demons. And last, you said the same thing that everybody else says, which is don't ever stop learning. So did I miss anything, Steve?
That was beautiful, and you did a better job of describing it than I do. But the last thing that I think is imperative to everybody on the phone is most people quit. Peter was talking about it earlier. He was talking about, what was happening back last year and how many people were giving up. And I think most people quit just before they become a success. Pretty awesome. Keep pushing.
That's a good one. And it's true. And those of you on the call that are discouraged, and I know there's still a lot of people that have been trying to get in the business, I think that is key. All the groundwork takes time, right, Steve? I mean, that's really what you're saying.
Yeah, and it takes making mistakes. You have to learn from your mistakes, and you have to keep making them.
Right.
If you took the collective genius on this call of all the people that are in management and all the people that are successful in real estate, every one of them has made more mistakes than most people have ever dreamed of.
Agreed.
And just keep pushing forward, keep trying.
Agreed. I like it. So I thought that was great, Steve. Thank you for sharing that. Now I wanted to talk about the panel, if you guys recall, that we did with Penny and Chris Conrad. And we kind of did like a powerful women of real estate industry leaders panel. And I wanted to share some of the stuff. And Penny, feel free to jump in if I'm missing anything or if I misquote you. But again, I was scribbling down notes when you guys were talking. But the first thing was, and I think this was you, Penny, It was not picking up the phone when someone calls you is selfish. Because if someone cares enough to call you, or if someone needs you, or if someone wants you, you have a responsibility to pick up that phone and to answer it. And so every time you don't, you're being disrespectful. I thought that was a great nugget, and that was one of yours, Penny. The second thing was Chris Conrad's out of Coastal Alliance, and I mentioned this yesterday too, but she said you always have to have a positive attitude towards the business, because the universe knows when we are open for business. The universe knows when you're open. The universe knows when you're closed. And that is, I thought, pretty powerful too. The next thing I'm not sure if it was you, Penny, or if it was Chris, or who it was, but it was that being successful in this business is the least you can do. With all of these people out there that are supporting you and giving you business, and your brother trying to help you, and your broker trying to encourage you, and Sonia helping you with your coaching, and all these different things, you owe it back to them to be successful, damn it. So, and if you're not, you're kind of letting a lot of people down. So put that pressure on yourself, right? So I like that, when you owe it to the people who invest in you. And I'm not sure, I think this was a combo from both of you guys, Penny, and it was show up, suit up, speak up, and do your best. And you said that at the beginning of your career, Penny, that you were a little bit more quiet, you were a little bit more reserved, and things really started to take off for you when you started being willing to speak up and realizing that, what, I have value. This is not a man's world. This is my world, and I'm going to suit up, show up, speak up, and do your best. And that was one of my favorite things, and you will, and you said, and you will persevere if you do those things. I love that. And the last one was, again, I think I'm not sure if this was Chris. She said, I wish I would have known earlier the power of mentors. I wish I would have known earlier in my life to attach myself to those people that will push me, that will make me better, that will help me go the places that I want to go. So that was a couple of the things from that panel. Anything, Penny, while you're on the call that you want to add to that, or did I say it right?
No, Chuck, thank you. You got it right. And I think the one thing I'd say is now I have to learn not to speak up so much. You can come to a place where you bully your way into life, and then you got to realize to back off. So moderation.
Bully your way into life. I love it. I love it. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Does anybody have anything else on any of those details? I know, Sonia, you are a fantastic coach. You coach, here at our company, our top 30 agents. Anything that you would want to add on, kind of the mindset of being a powerful leader out there, or making things happen in real estate?
Well, I've been listening to what you've been saying today, and what I'm taking away is there are opportunities out there, and we need to see those opportunities, act on them, create the urgency. I think that's one thing so many of the big time, the top earners, the billionaires, they create that energy, they have a purpose, they face the challenges head on. And I feel 2021 is actually going to be a year of building wealth, not just getting rich, but it's a year of actually building wealth. And there's a huge difference in that. So many of the agents are going into 2021 with their pockets full, and they don't have that urgency now because they're comfortable. You got to get out of that comfort zone. You have to go forward. If you're setting your goals and your long-term goals, you have to build the wealth to get there. This is an opportunity. Don't miss 2021. Make it happen this year.
I like that. Did you guys hear that? This is your chance to get ahead. We can all be rich if we do it right.
Success should drive you. It should make you even more hungry.
That's right. And I don't mean rich. I'm sorry. I just almost like I didn't listen to Sonia. Wealthy. Sorry, not rich. Wealthy. What did they always say? The owner of the Lakers is wealthy. Shaq is rich, but the owner of the Lakers is wealthy. But yeah, I love that. Thank you, Sonia. Okay, let me see if there was anything else. All right. The other thing was, and I know we only got 10 minutes left, Peter, but we're almost done. The other thing was Todd Conklin. And I know Karen had mentioned that, Todd had brought on a guest. And if you guys know, Todd owns Distinctive Properties. He has offices in Colorado, Montana, Idaho. A great guy, really motivational guy. And the couple of things that I remember about him, but most importantly, is the crab story. And he was talking about when he came out to California and he was walking along the pier and he saw a bucket that was full of crabs. And he looked down in the crab, into the bucket, and one of the crabs was trying to climb out. And he goes, hey, talk to the guy that was actually fishing off the pier, and he said, I just want to let you know that crab's trying to get out. And he goes, oh, don't worry about it. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, I'm not concerned about it. He goes, because there's more than just that crab right there. The other ones will pull him back down. So trying to get out, and they'll try to climb up him. So the real story with that is, some of those crabs, some of those things that could be holding us back from doing the things we want to be in 2021, it could be your parents, it could be your best friends, it could be your spouse. You have to identify those crabs in your life that are kind of holding you back from moving forward, trying to go and be where you want to be. So that crab story I thought was significant because you know who those crabs are. And the one person you don't want to be one of those crabs at the bottom. All right, so make absolutely sure that you're not that crab and that you're out there lifting everybody up. Okay, that's really important. The next thing goes back to what we were just saying, Sonia, and what Penny was saying and Chris Conrad is, you have to have a great corner. Muhammad Ali was great, but in his corner, he had some great coaches patching up his eyes and hitting up his cut wounds and doing all that sort of stuff. Amateurs don't have coaches. Amateurs don't have mentors. Amateurs are trying to do it on their own. And to really be who you want to be, you have to surround yourself with those mentors, those Steve Games guys, the top people in the industries, the Peters, the Carries, the Karens, the Tom Wysocki's, the people that can help lift you up and will help you in your corner get where you want to get. So I thought that was a pretty cool story too. So that was a couple of pieces out of Todd Conklin's. Peter, anything you want to add to that?
You're killing this meeting, Chuck. Keep going.
Okay. So Peter, let's talk about Lenny, dude. So if you guys recall, what company was, do you mind just giving a quick 30-second background on Lenny, Peter?
Yeah, he's kind of like my uncle. He was my dad's best friend growing up. And when I graduated from college, he worked at Washington Mutual. Actually, he ran Washington Mutual from Colorado West. And most recently, he runs U.S. Bank Mortgage for the whole country. And he grew up here in San Diego, didn't grow up with a lot of money, and built, he's one of the most successful people in mortgage, period, in the country. So to have him on was really cool.
And he did that overcoming adversity. He said that, along his path, he dealt with some racism, he dealt with some different issues going all along. He gave some of the best info on that, on how he overcame that and all the things that he did. And I'm not going to get into that story because of time, but I do want to tell you some of the nuggets, Peter, that he said. He said the same thing that some of these other guys are. There's no such thing as an obstacle. It is an opportunity. Everything that presents itself to you that seems like an obstacle is an opportunity. Secondly, he said, and this is the best one, and I think we can feel this and agree with this for any of you guys that were on that call with Lenny. He said that the most prized possession that you have, your most powerful thing that you own, is your attitude and the way you carry yourself and who you are to other people and what you do. Your attitude is your most prized possession. I thought that was powerful. And the other thing, it kind of goes back to the keeping your eyes open, but he said, our job is to do three things. Our job is to listen, our job is to appreciate, and our job is to serve. Let me say that again. Our job is to listen, our job is to appreciate, and our job is to serve. And, that has taken him far. And for him, he said that along the way, he has had people that have helped him get to where he is now. They have patted him on the back. They've encouraged him. They've told him what a great job he's doing. And he said that there is nothing more powerful than hanging out with people that bring a supportive relationship to what you have together. He said, so you have a responsibility to respect and acknowledge those people that have helped you along the way, those people that are helping you now, those people that are your manager that are making things happen for you, those people that are in your corner, same kind of thing. Who's in your corner? Build supportive relationships, respect and acknowledge those who help you. But that, to me, Peter, was probably one of the best calls we had all year. I was so fired up for like 2 months after that call. But that was a good one.
I think, Chuck, I'll share with what his message to me when I first got out of college. He literally sat me down in his office, and it was kind of awkward because I've known him since before I was born, I guess. So he sat me down in his office and he says, I need you to remember 3 things. And this was 2002. And this still is ingrained in everything that we do. And I was a mortgage assistant back then. And so he sits me down, and back then rates were at a historic low at 6.5%. It was, everybody's going crazy. Rates are at 6.5%. This is crazy. And he sat me down. He says, hey, this isn't real. You need to realize this isn't real, and you're going to make a ton of money. And at the time I was making $2,500 a month and $25 a loan. And he says, the name of the game, realtors, realtors, realtors. So for all of our loan officers on the call right now, these refinances aren't real. You need to build your realtor relationships. Number 2, he said, keep 6 months reserves in the bank. You're going to make money, save your money, keep 6 months reserves in the bank, because this business is cyclical. So we just experienced a really good year. We should experience another one this year. But just like Sonia said, you got to start thinking, and you got to start saving money. Don't just get complacent. So save money. And the third thing I think is the most important thing for me, and I hope you guys hear this message. He told me, remember where you come from, because you're going to make a lot of money, and this business changes people. Money changes people. Remember where you come from, and remember how you get to wherever it is you're going to go, because you don't want to have a big ego. You don't want to change who you are and where you come from. So if there's a message I think Lenny would love for you guys to hear, is remember where you come from, because you weren't always this successful. You weren't always where you're at in life, so just remember. And sorry, Chuck.
No, and Peter, hey, and if we're not careful, we could go back to where we were before all this.
Yeah, if you forget where you come from, you're going to end up right back where you started. Yeah,
exactly.
Peter, on that quote from Lenny, not to contradict, because that's such wonderful advice, I wonder, may I just share something that impacted me years ago? And it happens to be my brother-in-law. He's an amazing man. He lives in South Africa, and he came onto really good fortune because he worked hard. He followed his mentors. He did all the things that we're hearing here. And he came to me one day and he said, Penny, I want you to remember this. Money is a magnifier. Be who you are. Be a good person, considerate, and always think of others. Because when you get to the place where it's going to magnify who you are. So if you're an asshole now, you're a bigger asshole when you get rich. So I just want to remind everyone, money doesn't make you. Be proud, be diligent. Lenny would, I know, agree with that. So it's not always about the money. And if you end up with a modest bank account, you have the rewards and riches of life if you'll just live a good life and treat others well.
Penny, I'm stealing that. Money is a magnifier. I love it. And that's why, if you're really weird, you meet people that are really weird and then they get even more money and they get even weirder. It's kind of the same thing. I love it. It's fantastic. That's probably, I love that one. I'm keeping it forever. I'm gonna put it on my wall. Anyways, good stuff. Thank you, Penny. Basically, Peter, there's a couple left, but we are at 9:30. One of the last ones was John Israel. If you guys recall, he wrote the book, Mr. Thank You, where he wrote 5 thank you notes every day for 365 days. Do you guys recall that? And never the same person more than 3 times. So, and he wrote notes to his thank you notes to the waitresses, and this big heavyset waitress down in the South that picked him up off the ground and swung him around because she was so happy about the fact that she was acknowledged, and that someone acknowledged that she mattered and acknowledged what she did. And that's the little lesson from Israel. It's respect and appreciation on steroids. Yes, the airline employee too, Joe. I remember that. The pilot, he wrote one to the pilot, and just some really great stuff. But in summary, Peter, I just think that we've put together some really great stuff for 2020, and I think hopefully everybody ingrained all of this greatness, from the Pennies and Chris's to the legends of Patty and Tammy to Tom Ferry to all that. I just say we just keep bringing it, guys, and we keep on these calls. We keep doing what we're doing, and every Monday, just so you guys know, I have one on Monday. There's also this one on Friday. It's just important to keep ourselves supercharged. And I know that this stuff is making us all better. And it's just important that we stay tuning in and listen to the greats. And I know we're going to keep them coming. But today I just wanted to do that 2020 review. And Peter and I were talking about it and excited. So Peter, any closing comments before we head out?
Chuck, before
Chuck,
we go,
Oh, wait, Karen, go for it.
Peter, may I?
Yes.
Since it's the beginning of a new year, it would be great if we could end with an action step to take. And this came from Tom Ferry, and I thought it was very powerful. So it's time now to sit down and discover what is it that we're going to do more of, and how am I going to deliver more value than before? We need to sit down and know about that. And as Tom says, done is always better than perfect.
Love it.
So that's it.
I love it. Action step, guys. Even texting your top 50 would, your top 50 clients. But thank you, Karen. And I like that closing comment to start out with an action. But again, I am excited for 2021. It's going to be awesome. Peter, what you got, buddy?
I just want to say thank you, Chuck. You're so good at these. Man, you crushed today. Thank you. And then I'll end on this video. You guys don't have to stick around for it, but if you do, I'll just play like 20 seconds of it. And I want to invite you guys to it. Something that we're doing next week, which I'm extremely excited about. Let me share my screen here.
I'm excited about this too.
So we can't get together in person, but we can definitely get together on Zoom. So I thought this would be really fun for originally everybody at Coldwell Banker West, but I don't know, Chuck, I feel like we're family. Drake, we're on the same team. So you guys are invited as well. Check this out.